Hello again, everyone. In this technical analysis of the stock market video, I call it off with a bang because we started the third quarter earnings this last week. We had 7 Dow stocks reporting, and I'm going to briefly review those after we look at the S&P 500 and the VIX. And plus, there were 2 others in the news. We had Boeing in the news on Friday, and Netflix had earnings also. That's not a Dow stock, but we're going to take a look at it because that had some volatility also. All right, so let's start off here with the weekly view of the S&P 500. We're still waiting for this market to show its hands, and does it really want to go up or does it want to roll over? And right now, it's been a little bit in between in here over the last couple of months, a little bit of volatility moving back and forth. This last week, the SPX was up 15.93. So what am I showing here on just the more traditional chart? You got the moving averages. We've got a possible large broadening top. Some people call it a megaphone type thing that's in place. We'll watch and see if that plays out or not. We'll look at an Elliott wave analysis in a minute. This longer term trend line is a trend line basically back from about 3.5 years since January 2016 low in here, and that was shattered last fall, a year ago. And what we've done since then is just basically come up to the underside of it, basically come up and kissed the trend line again, pulled away, came back up again. So we'll see where we go from here. Let's take a look at the Elliott wave picture from the bearish perspective. Okay, so this scenario says that we are in a large flat, a large A, B, C flat. And when you have a flat from an Elliott wave view, it's a 3, 3, and a 5. So if that's the case, I'm expecting a 5-wave move to the downside. But right now, what's been bothering me is this has been holding up in here, and it really hasn't broken down. You know, you would think that if it's in a third wave, and actually, when you drill down and start looking at the wave structure underneath this, it's in a third of a third. You would think that it would start to accelerate, and it just hasn't done that. So the other possibility, the other real possibility is going on, is that this is getting ready to head to the upside, you know, as a possibility. Let me look at the weekly view and give you this bigger picture in here. So this is what I'm looking at, an ending diagonal type pattern. This is a possible little triangle for a B wave and within that third wave in here. So it could be like an A and a B, sideways B, and then a C up here to complete the third wave. And again, when you have an ending diagonal, they're all a series of zigzags. Okay, all the waves are zigzags, and the fourth wave overlaps the wave 1 when you have a diagonal pattern. So this is what I'm watching closely. We'll see if the market decides to take out its highs, or does it roll over and take out its lows? Okay, so that's where we're at here with the XPX. This view is a little bit of a closer view of that triangle. Here's what I was talking about within that third wave. So here's the B wave. And if this is a B wave, we could see over the next week or two a little more action to the downside. But I'm not expecting that. If this is what it's doing, I'm not expecting that to take out the low. So we'll see how this plays out. All right, so that's the SPX. Let's take a look at the VIX. Here's the bigger picture of the VIX. Here's these longer term trend lines. You can see how in August we blew up through the one longer term trend line, the first one. Then we formed another one. We came up and tagged it in the end of September, beginning of October. And now we've pulled back down. And where are we? Let me get my crosshairs out here. You can see how we're down here nestled right near the lows of September and right in the middle of the range that occurred in July. And if you remember, if you look back in my videos, in July, I called this the calm before the storm because that's exactly what was happening. Everybody was very complacent, no fear, very calm, low VIX, and then we had the storm. Okay, so we're back down into this area. Now, the thing about the lows right here in September and where we're at right now, we closed 14.25. We're not quite as low as we got. If you look back, let me zoom out a little bit. You can see where we got in September and the summer before last fall, and then here was September before we got the big sell-off in the fall. a little bit lower, and we kind of came down and touched those lows in here back in April and then in July. So, the VIX is definitely down in the basement. The real question is it going to continue to push down to these lows, or is it going to turn? Right now, I thought maybe we're going to get that on Friday. It just couldn't hold it. And we'll see. So far, it's not indicating any kind of a turn. We got this moving average crossing to the downside. That's the VIX. All right, let's take a look at some of these stocks in the Dow Industrials that had earnings this last week. Let's start off with JP Morgan. Okay, so on Tuesday is when all of the financials started kicking everything off, and we had JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs in the Dow Industrials. JP Morgan was up for the week. I'm looking at a weekly view. If you ever have any doubts, take a look right here. It's telling you 1 week. This is the descriptor of the stock. Here's where you can see the ticker symbols. And down here also tells you what time frame I'm on. I'm on the weekly view here. So it was up $4.42 for the week, 3.8%. Continues to try and trend to the upside. It's definitely pushing the highs. Let's take a quick look at the next one on the list is Goldman Sachs. Okay, Goldman Sachs was up $1.84, basically just slightly shy than 1% for the week, and you can see just not a whole lot of movement. It's not even close to punching the highs up here. It's been somewhat struggling, and of course it's had its issues with that big situation. I think it was Malaysia or something where they have this big controversy and some billion-dollar suit or something. I can't remember what all the details on that. Let's take a look at UnitedHealth Group. This had a blowout week on earnings. UnitedHealth Group was up $23.27 for the week. Big move, 10.5% for the week. Now, it's interesting. It had been trending to the downside, but we didn't hear 3 weeks ago, did not take out the April low. So it's going to be interesting to see, does this turn? Because this is a lower high in here. So we had lower highs, we had lower lows, but at this point, maybe something's changing, and then we get this big move that's going on here with UnitedHealth Group. We'll see. There's the possibility that we've just got a big top that's occurring also. If you go all the way back over here to January, remember when the market peaked out January 26, 2018? Well, here's that week, okay? And it's real interesting. The close of that week on UnitedHealth Group, 248.47. We're actually down about $3 from that close of January, the week of January 21st, 2018. So anyway, that's the picture on UnitedHealth Group. Johnson & Johnson, wow, down $3.63 for the week. And you can see the choppiness, the sideways type of oscillations have been going on with J&J. Well, what really happened is look at Friday when Johnson & Johnson had the huge recall of the baby powder, and it's massive recall of the baby powder because of what they found in the baby powder. Okay, so that's J&J. So then the next day was on Wednesday. We had IBM, and IBM for the week ended up down $8.67. They did not like what they heard in the earnings report on IBM, and when you look at this picture on IBM, let me go to this view. When I kind of make it clean, it sure looks a little bit like a Head and Shoulders top in here. And IBM has really been struggling since the high back here in 2013. It's been doing nothing but trending down. So very interesting picture. Looks like it may be getting ready to break down even further. Okay, that's IBM. Let's take a look at American Express. American Express had earnings out this last week, but in the end, only up 36 cents for the week. All the financials were up this week in the Dow. American Express, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, they were all up, but American Express was basically, you got to say, it was kind of flat. And then when you look at the daily view, here's what happened. You thought initially, wow, they liked it, and then they just cratered the stock the rest of the day. So that was American Express, down $2.34 on Friday. And then we had Coca-Cola. And here's Coca-Cola. Continues to trend up. This is a weekly view, up $1.48, 2.8% for the week. So Coke continues to trend higher in here. And then let's take a look. Oh, Boeing was in the news. Look at Boeing. Down $25.06 on Friday. Huge, huge move. And you could see it almost looked a little bit like, and I remember seeing this, a little bit like a little head and shoulders type of pattern in here. But even if you don't buy into that, you can say, wow, it just shattered that trend line to the downside. Clearly it was rolling over, but that is the picture with Boeing right now. And they're struggling with that whole 737 MAX issue. All right, let's take a look at Netflix. Okay, Netflix for the week down $7.63. And, you know, initially, boy, they really, really liked that earnings report. They really liked that earnings report Wednesday evening after the market closed. And I was watching the aftermarket trading, and it traded all the way up here as high as 311 and might have even gotten higher than that. So the next morning, Thursday, where does it open? It opens 304.49, high 308.75, and that was about it. And it came down here, closed at 293.35, and then they just continued to hammer it on Friday, down $18.05, closing at 275. So we'll see where this goes from here. The first 2 days after the earnings report are not really a very pretty picture. All right, that's it for this weekend. If you felt like the video was helpful, hit the thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to have more of this kind of information on a regular basis, head on over to joehenches.net. And here's the webpage. And check it out. You can look at the membership or get on the free updates, email list, free updates, check out the posts, etc. All right, that's it for this weekend. Everyone have a great weekend. We'll talk to you on the next video.